By moving people and goods, the transport industry contributes about 20% of South Africa's GDP and also serves as the backbone of South Africa's economic activity. The country has a skilled driver shortage, which poses a big risk to local business. Recently, truck drivers protested over conditions in the industry in KwaZulu-Natal and the Western Cape, arguing for salary increases and against the use of foreign immigrants being hired over South Africans. But how do we build a talent pipeline to plug the skills gap? Arnoux Maré, the Managing Director of Innovating Learning, joins me now to talk about this. Arnoux, a pleasure to have you on the program this morning. Would you say that South Africa is suffering from a shortage of qualified truck drivers?
We don't have a shortage of people with Code 14 licenses. We definitely have a shortage of very good and, like you say, qualified and skilled drivers. It's a very technical and precision job. So driving a superlink truck that weighs about 58 tons definitely poses a risk for other people and the general public. So the drivers need to be highly skilled to be able to do this proficiently.
Now, when you look at early retirement as well as lockdown restrictions, it makes it very difficult for drivers to access training and to get licensed. Similarly, a shortage of professional drivers in the United States and the United Kingdom has also led to companies even recruiting drivers here in South Africa with the promise of better pay. Give us some of your observations in this regard.
Yes, we have been seeing an international shortage of drivers, but I don't think the recruitment of South African drivers is really such a big problem. It'll take at least a year to develop a South African driver to be able to drive in the conditions under the different laws of, say, the USA or the UK. The conditions there is snow, which we don't have as a major problem on this side. You drive on the wrong side of the road in the USA, and that'll take quite a long time to build those skills from a South African perspective to, say, a USA or a UK perspective.
Right.
I think a bigger problem that we are facing at the moment is not the exiting of drivers out of the country. It's more a gap in the drivers. Your more experienced and very qualified drivers are usually between 45 and 55 years old. And insurance companies, or most of them, refuses to insure a driver that's under 35 with certain qualifications and experiences. So this leaves a gap. So how do we get a driver qualified and proficient while waiting for him to turn 35 so he can actually be insured to be able to drive the trucks that he needs to drive? So that's what we're Innovative Learning Solutions all about. We're trying to train these drivers and help them to upskill themselves and be ready. And we are also partnering with a major insurance brand that's now pre-approved our center, and they will be reducing the age of the drivers to ensure that we can start turning this, because this is going to become a major problem in the South African economy.
Now, South Africa's transport industry, like most sectors, is also still reeling from the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic and also a contraction of the economy. However, as the country also tries to gear up to reclaim some semblance of normality, drivers are presented with an opportunity not only to fill the skills shortage gap, which is present at the moment in the transport and logistics industry, but also use this experience to increase their earnings, wouldn't you say?
Definitely, I think that's normal. Everybody wants to earn more at the end of the day, and I think the truck drivers are definitely an underrated position in South Africa. The problem we have internationally is no schoolboy in grade 2 gets up and tells his teacher proudly that he's going to become a truck driver one day. I don't think the importance of this position is really recognized by society. To put it that way, people become truck drivers because they are forced into the industry and they become really good at what they do.
Right.
These truck drivers that are earning in excess of 30 to 40,000 a month that we personally know of, and they do really well. But then your Minimum Wages Act also controls and sees where the minimum is, where they can pay, so they can't be exploited. So yes, definitely truck drivers want to be paid more. I just think there's better ways of going about doing that. Collective bargaining is very important in the South African labor law, and we need to follow those procedures and not allow rogue associations to actually control truck drivers and say stop the N3, because that causes more job losses and more problems at the end of the day than it actually causes solutions. you also have to look at from a company's side. If you stop a truck, they're not going to trust you anymore as a truck driver, and you're probably going to lose your position, and then you're going to sit with a problem going forward, and you'll have that reference on your CV going forward. So I think COVID has hit everybody really hard, and it was an international epidemic, and it's put a lot of pressure on the normal person on the streets and everybody else. And I think with those pressures comes definitely a will to try and fix things, and we don't always take the right methods to do that. But yeah, I think with COVID seeming like it's relaxing at the moment, maybe we will be able to recover. We just need a recovery time, like every country in the world.
That was Managing Director of Innovative Learning, Arnoux Maré, speaking to us there about some of the issues affecting the trucking industry as well as the logistics industry here in South Africa.